So I got this comment a few weeks ago saying, can you make a tactic using only 2 centre halves that's going to win the league? And well, straight away I thought, what a stupid idea that is. But then I got to thinking. And I scratched my head for days and days, weeks and weeks, until I finally still didn't solve it. So I kept trying different formations with 2 at the back, and then I finally figured it out. Yeah, we are then, boys. As you can see, the 2 at the back formation has been successful. 101 points, 96 positive goal difference, and trust me, this tactic, well, it is mental. Absolutely mental. I'm sure your eyes have been drawn towards the 58 goals scored by Mbappe, but with only 2 centre halves on the pitch, Marquinhos with 98% pass completion is one of the standout performers. That and the 30 assists by Neymar, that's not half bad either. If we look at the overall performance of the squad before we get into the formation, Mbappe got 58 and 53, Icardi with 39, Neymar with 19, Messi with 14, Di Maria with 13, goals galore. And then when we look at the assists, well, it's just as crazy. Neymar, of course, with those 30, Hakimi getting 20, Di Maria with 18, Icardi 16, Messi with a 15, and Mbappe with 14. Chances are being provided all over the pitch. And looking at the average rating, you will see that, well, the average rating is pretty incredible. Remember, this formation has 2 defenders, and one of them, Sergio Ramos, averaged 7.58 for the entire season. Not half bad at all. And when you have a little look at the league table, you'll see that we performed fairly well. We did, however, lose 3 games and draw 2, so it's not the perfect season, but with 2 at the back, what do you expect? We still got 33 victories, Mbappe with 44 goals across the league, Mbappe again with 11 player of the matches, assists, Neymar, Hakimi, they're just getting assists all over the shop, goals galore. Not just goals, however, but also consistent possession. 58% possession with 26,000 passes, that is not bad for only having 2 defenders. And of course, the rest of the players, well, they've got to be somewhere. I'll show you the tactic in just a second. One of the downsides is this tactic does pick up a lot of yellow cards, 113 to be precise. Well, that's probably too many, but it won the league, so who cares? The most impressive stat, I think, for this formation is the 3.63 goals per game that we get. Of course, we are PSG, so we are the best team in the league. However, to get 3.6 goals per game, I would hazard a guess that no one has done better than that in this year's FM. But if they have, well done to you. That's bloody impressive. Now, this formation does score a lot of goals. In fact, 40 more than second place Nice. 138 goals is not half bad either. And like I mentioned before, we completed the most passes in the league. We created the most chances in the league. Over 100 more than second place Nice. Nearly 800 shots as well. Almost 400 on target. This tactic is insane. Now, this tactic does have its downfalls, of course. It only has 2 defenders. But we still managed to complete the double, the treble if we're including the friendly cup. But no one's doing that. We won the league, we won the cup. And we got knocked out by Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So there's no shame in that, really. Especially with Mbappe getting 8 goals. Not bad. But now it's the time for me to show you the tactics. I've done enough talking. I've showed you all the stats. You want to see the tactic, and I don't blame you. If you do want to download this tactic, it will be in the link below. While you're down there, consider subscribing. It would mean a lot. We're pushing towards 500 and we're almost there. With your help, we might just get there. The first thing we need to do then is to make sure we have 2 defenders. And both of these players are going to be ball-playing defenders on defensive duty. We'll go through the personal instructions for each position a little bit later on. But behind those 2, we need a sweeper keeper on support duty. In front of the 2 centre halves, we're going to have 2 defensive midfielders. The first one is going to be a ball-winning midfielder on defend. The second one is going to be a deep line playmaker also on defensive duty. We need to make sure we have enough players at the back, considering everyone else is going to be bombing forwards. Ahead of the defensive midfielder, we are going to have a central midfielder on attack. It is my favourite role this year, so I wanted to get this one into this formation as well. On either wing, we're actually going to have inverted wingers on attack. We want these players to be pushing forwards, but we also want them to be fairly central as well. Now comes the important part. We're actually going to have a trequartista. It's a role that is not utilized a lot this year, as to be honest, it's fairly useless. However, in this formation, this player is absolutely pivotal to everything. Ahead of the trequartista, we're going to have a target forward on support duty and then an advanced forward on attack duty. And that is all of the positions sorted. Now it's just a case of the personal instructions. The first instructions we need to worry about actually comes in the form of our ball winning midfielder. All we want to do is make sure that this player stays wider when we have the ball, but then we're going to go into the mark specific position area. We want this player to be tracking their right winger as they are attacking, which basically means we end up with a back four. So if we put him to mark the attacking midfield on the right, it means when the winger is on the attack down our left hand side, he will pull into the space over here, covering, making sure we have a flat back four. With that being said, we need to do the same to our deep line playmaker. We need to make sure that he is staying wider and that he is marking the specific position of the attacking midfielder on the left hand side. When the attacker is running down the left, the deep line playmaker will pull over into this position just to make sure we have that defensive solidity. Next, it is our central midfielder on attack, and normally I go for shoot more often, dribble more, take more risks, but in this formation I don't need to do that. All I do is make sure that he's marking the specific position of the number 10 position, the attacking midfielder central, which means when these two players go right and go left, this guy drops back and marks in here as an unorthodox defensive midfielder, but he does the job. Next, we'll look at the inverted winger on the right hand side. All we want to do with this guy is make sure that he is aiming crosses at the target forward, and we want him to double up on the attacking midfield on the left hand side. Because we're playing so many attacking mentalities, we need to make sure that these players are tracking back when we lose the ball. With that being said, on the left hand side, we need to do exactly the same with the inverted winger. Aim crosses at the target forward and mark the specific winger on that side. Next is the trequartista, and this guy already has loads of instructions, and the only one we're going to add is shoot more often. The way that this formation works is because there's so many players bombing forward, this guy tends to be a little bit free, so we should have plenty of time to fire away those shots. Now on to our strikers. The target forward has no more instructions, but the advanced forward, as always with my tactics, has the shoot more often instruction enabled. The reason being, this guy is probably your best player in your team. He's going to get the most chances, so we want him to be firing away the shots. Now we have all the player instructions sorted. Now it's time to look at the team instructions. And of course, the mentality for this formation is positive. You couldn't expect anything else really, considering we have two defenders. We want to be playing on the front foot. And with that being said, we're going to play out of defence. We're going to work the ball into the box. We're going to focus play through the middle of the pitch. We're going to use a higher tempo, and we're going to reduce the width only just a little bit, so we are fairly narrow. In transition, it's fairly straightforward. Counter press, counter. We're going to distribute to the centre backs, and we're going to roll it out. We want to keep the ball, so we don't want to be launching up the pitch. We want to be building out from the back. Now comes out of possession, and this is the one that has the most instructions. We actually want to make sure that we're forcing the opposition inside. We don't have any wing backs, we only have two centre backs. So we want to make sure that all the play is being played in the middle of the pitch. That's where we're the strongest, that's where we have the numerical advantage, so that's where we want the opposition to be. Then we're going to use a higher defensive line and a higher line of engagement. Normally it's much higher defensive line and line of engagement, but for this tactic it's not needed. With us only having two centre backs, I'm going to use the offside trap purely because two of them, they're going to have a good connection all season long. It's going to be quite easy for them to catch opposition offside. We're going to trigger press much more often. We want to get the ball back high up the pitch because that's where all of our players are. And because we have so many players up the top end of the pitch, we're going to prevent a short goalkeeper distribution. So they're going to have to play it long. And with two commanding centre halves, especially with PSG even, we can win those headers and play out from the back. And next is the controversial one. You saw the stat earlier on, over 100 yellow cards, and I like to use get stuck in. Now this is entirely up to you. If you don't have a big squad like PSG do have, it might be worth taking that off because you do get a lot of suspensions. but it just dominates the opposition so much that I think it's personally worth it. So there we have it then, a championship winning side using 2 defenders only. A mental challenge, so thank you Straight Edge for that one. If you have a challenge for me to complete, please do drop it in the comments below. And if you think you can do better using only 2 defenders, please do send me a picture on Twitter. I'll look forward to seeing it from you. Anyways, I've been GG513, you've been awesome, take it easy, and hopefully I'll see you next time.